great players. They have a great organization. And you tell them one thing.
What is good, Raider Nation? It's your boy Raider Alex back with yet another video for you guys. Anybody that is new to the channel, you guys love Raiders related content just like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. That being said, let's jump right into the topic of this video. The Raiders owner Marc Davis met with members of the media this week at the NFL's owners annual meeting and shared a few interesting thoughts on the current state of the Raiders. Over a year ago, Marc Davis introduced our new general manager Dave Ziegler and our new head coach Josh Mcdaniels, and look, he came out and stated that a rebuild was not in their plans moving forward. But after hearing what Marc Davis just said, maybe he knew all along that this was going to be a very possible scenario moving forward. Look, Marc Davis stated the reason it wasn't a rebuild is because they came in and they had the quarterback, they got Davante, they had everything that they wanted based on seeing from afar what they thought they were coming into, and no matter how much you tell people what they're getting, they got to see for themselves. So at that time, it was in my mind for them, let's see what you got. Again, there wasn't extreme disappointment because I had a feeling that from afar, they didn't really see exactly what they were getting, but I knew by the end of the season they'd know. So did I think it was a rebuild at that time? No, I thought it was really an opportunity to move forward again. So look, very interesting comments from Marc Davis' point of view. It really seems like Marc Davis had a strong feeling that it was not gonna work out between Josh McDaniels and our former quarterback Derek Carr, in my opinion. Look, Marc Davis literally admitted that he was not very disappointed or surprised to how this season went. To me, that's pretty shocking to hear from our owner. Look, us as fans, we were all expecting a successful season, at the very least to make the playoffs, but after the first month of the season, we could all feel that the playoffs were going to be difficult to achieve. This team needed a lot of work. The Raiders coming off of a 10-7 playoff berth. You add more talent to the roster, especially on offense. We were definitely very excited to see where McDaniels could take this team. Not only that, Marc Davis was also asked whether or not the current state of the Raiders is, quote unquote, a rebuild. He was asked, is it a rebuild now? Look, I suppose if you're getting a new quarterback, obviously that's a big positional change. And the fact is we still have holes on the defense we need to fill. The offense, again, we lose a quarterback and a tight end. That's a lot. So are we closer than we were last year? I don't know at this point, but we do have the draft coming up, and that's going to tell a lot. So look, he didn't literally come out and say this is a rebuild, but essentially that's the closest thing you're going to get to an owner admitting that their team is rebuilding, in my opinion. That's what he's trying to get at, I feel like. And it really seems like Marc Davis at the very least knew that this was a legitimate possibility based on his comments, which tells me that he was not very convinced of this roster coming off that 2021 playoff season. This definitely explains why he ultimately ended up deciding not to hire interim head coach Rich Bisaccia as the permanent head coach, which, look, personally, I didn't really mind that decision, but it looks like Marc Davis also was not super convinced about the talent level on this roster either. Another big takeaway from this article is the fact that Marc Davis, in my opinion, he's going to be patient with Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler. There's no way around it. The Raiders, look, they're not in win now mode. He's going to give this new regime time to build their roster with the players that fit their scheme and system moving forward, which makes sense with how this offseason has gone so far, because the Raiders seem to really never have that much interest in trying to trade for a superstar quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, which would have been more of a win now type of move if you go out there and reunite Aaron Rodgers with Davante Adams. The Raiders are essentially at this point in time looking for low budget young players with upside to add to their roster. We've seen this based on the moves they made during this free agency period. And look, it looks like the Raiders are putting a huge amount of emphasis on the draft, where the Raiders will have 12 draft selections. So I will say, for the fans that want Josh McDaniels fired as soon as possible, I highly doubt that is going to happen. I would say Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler are going to be here for at least 2 more seasons, just depending on the results and progress being made on this team from now to then. And look, there is no way around it. The draft is going to be absolutely crucial for the Raiders' future. Moving forward, it's either going to be the stepping stone for this new regime to build a championship roster in the near future, or it will set us back for years. So nonetheless, I definitely think Marc Davis has made some head scratching moves throughout the years, but he did just come out and admit that he needs to improve as an owner, and he even stated, the fact that we haven't won falls on me. There's no passing the buck or pointing the fingers, the buck stops here. So look, I definitely like that statement from Marc Davis. I think accountability is key within an organization, not only in sports, just in general. So I like that Marc Davis is willing to admit that he has made some mistakes in the past, and hopefully he's willing to learn from those mistakes. And although I love the statement, at the end of the day, ultimately he needs to find a way to bring back a winning culture to the Las Vegas Raiders as soon as possible. At the end of the day, all that matters is the commitment to excellence and just win, baby, which is something that the Raiders have not done in years. So I am definitely hoping and praying that this new regime has something up their sleeves, and that we can do something that we haven't done in a while, which is have a great NFL draft this year. And not only this year, we need to continue to have good drafts year in and year out to sustain long-term success. I really feel like if you want to be successful in the National Football League, you have to be able to draft well. You have to acquire young, cheap talent on your roster. But Raider Nation, Marc Davis essentially admitted that this team is heading toward a rebuilding stage. Now, at the same time, just because you're rebuilding doesn't mean you can't have progress from last season. It doesn't also necessarily take 3 to 4 years to have a successful rebuild. We've seen a lot of teams turn it around quickly, and it all starts with the draft. If you can hit on this year's draft, maybe next year we get a little bit more aggressive in free agency. Look, maybe they could turn this around, but we'll just have to see what happens. But Raider Nation, what do you guys think of Marc Davis' comments? Did they surprise you? Let me know in the comment section down below. With that being said, Raider Nation, that's all I have for you guys in today's video. Anybody that's new to the channel, you guys love Raiders related content just like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. That being said, I will see you guys in the next one.